Good evening, everyone. Whoops, I'm still a little off here, but good evening. We're gonna draw tonight. It's been a while. I'm very tired. It's just been like a long work week. Long week. So I want to get more work done. I want to work on art. So let's get in the Clip Studio. Art! Where's the art? Why is it not showing on the screen? Uh-oh. Oh, that's because it's the wrong screen. Hey, there's the art. Hey, there it is. Oh, my homies love art. Alright. Let's see. I have a remote for my tablet. Let's see if it's charged. Also, I got like really cold recently. I think because it was like 85 degrees Fahrenheit out. And it was so hot that like when it finally cooled down in the house, I was like, oh, I'm freezing. I'm going to die. So let's select. I wish there was a backlight on this thing. That's the one thing I wish existed. I might go turn my main light on. So the remote's just like not working. Beeping. You want to connect? Buddy old pal? Tablet remote, you want to connect? Please? Please and thank you? Let me check my Bluetooth settings. Wacom settings? Maybe. Well, the remote is there. But it's not changing it. What is this? We're drawing. What's up? What's up, PFT? How are you doing? Welcome in. We just got started up, so I'm working on some line work. It has been probably too long since I have opened this file. I was hoping I could get my tablet working, but doesn't seem like it wants to comply. What am I avoiding working on here? I'm also wondering if I should redraw this. Also, what was that? That's new. Why did Discord give me a push? Crazy. That's fine though. We'll live with that. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. I think the line width is okay. I actually kind of wish I had done a thicker line width on the chest, but I don't want to change it at this point. Man, I'm so used to using my work controls and hotkeys, essentially, that when it comes to... Oh, thank you. Where's my music? Where's my music? Where'd it go? My tunes! There we go. When it comes to the hotkeys for My personal computer for art. I have not used it in a while. So I think I'm gonna try and not be too precious about the line art. I can definitely get too precious about line art because I really enjoy the process of inking. And I actually want to prototype some different types of Wacom tablet pen, but I just haven't gotten to the stage of prioritizing that yet. Oh, come on. Music, please. Is it like... What's going on? Computer. Computer! What's going on? Why is the internet bad? Raging. What's up? My tune machine just went womp womp. So I don't know what's going on. Might be YouTube. It definitely feels like my internet connection right now, but the stream seems okay. So I don't know. I think it's maybe it's my internet connection. Well, I guess we'll just be here alone with our thoughts. We're gonna raw dog the stream tonight. No music. Maybe some music. Maybe some music. Maybe it was just a blurb. It could be, I think there's supposed to be severe thunderstorms. So, maybe it's YouTube just is like, wah! Because I'm playing some game musics. How you been, Raging? How's life? I hope the summer is treating you well. Now is the time to get into MTG? Is that because they're adding in the Final Fantasy stuff? Oh, but you see, Raging, it's not time to get back into MTG. It would be time to return. And in that right, I've done my time. I've done my time. Son, I've done my time, and there's people that are smarter and more strategic than me. Sonny boy, I've done my time. I really wish my freaking tablet pen would work. My shortcut keys. Yeah, we're gonna have to raw dog the music. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's not streaming the audio. Oh, there we go. My elevator music is gone. Now I'm just alone with my thoughts. Woe is me. F1? Oh no. Oh no. They've gotten to you. The F1 propaganda has gotten to you. That's okay. I might end up going and watching the America's Cup and all the sailing races this year. Maybe we'll do a sailing reaction stream. I'll have to see when those are. Because I used to watch them with my dad, but I hear that they're trying to make a push like F1 had done in the States. They're silly guys. They're just some silly guys. Oh, that's the... Okay. There's 3 circuits in the US? Yeah, I know there's Miami, LA, and Texas? Question mark? New York? Question mark? Yeah, they are street circuits. I've heard that. I do occasionally watch the lovely Swell Entertainment, whose personal interest is F1. And I watch her videos on F1 and I'm like, I like your words, funny man. Las Vegas, that's the one I'm forgetting. Vegas, baby. Vegas, baby. Gonna drive a car real fast. Oh, yeah. Faster than all the rest. Vegas, baby, come watch some Formula One tonight. That'll be $10,000 F1 for the licensing rights. Thank you very much. I read Austin as Australia. Let's just put it that way. It's a small suburb in a different county. I feel like Texas is like that, though. They're always like, it's Austin, and it's a huge state. And they just say, like, it's within a 2-hour drive of Austin, so it's Austin. Come on, guys, let's do the tour of America. We'll drive from Los Angeles to the Grand Canyon. One day, in and out. It'll be easy. Oh my, we're gonna drive real fast. Fortune favor the best at one driver right. It's in New Zealand. Ah, I see. Marketing kings. I'm gonna work on another part of this. Look at those legs. They make no goddamn sense, but I love them. This whole thing makes no sense. But foreshortening, man, just roll with it. Foreshortening. All around the chimney tonight. Oh, so I am running a campaign again for D&D. And I have another session next week. And guess who hasn't written anything down? It's me, your DM. And it's a completely homebrew module, so I don't got nothing. I kind of had an epiphany of what was going on, because I BS'd my way through what I did have pre-written. So none of my D&D group really watches my streams, so I could talk about it on stream. So if for some reason you're in my D&D group, leave now, for the arcane secrets are not for your ears, but they are for chat. Oh, yeah. Oh, Raging. We're on session 4 too. I mean, well, 4 as well. We are also on session 4. Hell yeah. Session 4 buddies. So, for my D&D campaign, I picked up a campaign I had pre-written a couple of sessions of for something else I was running, but the group didn't work out. So I had another group that was much more inclined for RP stuff. So I was like, ha 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 ha, I get to do world building. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna run chat through it because this is also gonna be my refresher for me writing and brainstorming stuff. But the party was working as day laborers on an island called Shadow Rock Landing. Shadow Rock Landing. And it is an island that appeared a couple of 100 years ago out of the sea and was not known on maps. They thought it may have been an error and was just mismarked as a nearby island, but they kept finding old artifacts on the island and scientific pieces. The problem is, it took forever to get information out of the island because sailors kept dying when they tried to get into the island because it is engulfed by treacherous waters and ports and constantly shrouded by storms. Is that a turtle? No, it's her shield. It's a shield. I gotta be better at moving into what I'm drawing. But yeah. So it is not a turtle. The island is not a turtle. But the party was working as day laborers for the shipping group that did manage to establish a port on the island. They were kicked out of the inn because they were told, we can't give you work because we know you stole a ship from the shipping company. And they're like, what the fuck? We didn't. Who are you talking about? And it turns out it was a case of mistaken identity because I met my D&D group through the Legends of Evantris Discord. They have a channel where they're like looking for group, and I saw one that was like, hey, we're grown adults, so we're looking to play D&D, and all of us like rotate DMing, and I was like, perfect, because then I can take breaks. And so they were all mistaken for the Adventurous group because the player characters were like a Tabaxi, a Yanti, which I was like, you can be mistaken for Creme Le Cru. And it just like easily mistaken identity. And it was pretty quickly discovered that they were not a mistaken identity. They meet with the port owner, which is a owner of the Faerun Free Trade Commission. And they find her to be quite exasperated at losing the ship because they may lose deals trading with the research outpost known as the Citadel farther inland. And she's just pretty frustrated. She sends them off to her assistants, and her assistants say, listen, we know you didn't do it, but we still need the ship back, and you need work. We know you've been working for us, so there may be a ship that you can get to track them down if you're willing to. And they give them the information to go find a not crashed, a beached ship in a cove that is outside of town. Is it all the curses if the world massed into a ball and set adrift at sea? Maybe. So they head out of town. Well, okay, shopping episode happened first. So they got to pick some shopping items, and we have a Yanti that now has a flying broomstick, and this Yanti is like mostly noodle with very small limbs, and they're a sorcerer. So they're going full tree snake. They're going full tree snake in the campaign. That's great. And a little tiny sorcerer cat with a dragon's claw because they're the dragon origin sorcerer. And that's pretty cool. And then we're joined by some other people. So we have a Minotaur, big Minotaur men's who's a berserker. And it's like pretty peaceful. If you think like grassy nomad type, that's definitely their vibe. And then we also have a bard that is very theatrical, that likes to use their words very well. And I thought it was really interesting. And I'm so happy. I keep talking without breathing. Thanks. I like to not shut up. Not the words. Yeah, so she's good with words, and she's an elf bard. So we've got an elf bard, a small, like, cat-sized tabaxi instead of the humanoid-sized cat face, and a danger noodle, and a minotaur in our party. And they set off, and actually it was originally a couple of other characters first. They met up during the next campaign because the bard and the berserker were sent to help intervene a wizard in a tower outside of town that is having some domicile issues. There is screaming and wailing that can be heard from his house. So the party meets up and says, oh, I think we're heading to the same direction. They head towards the wizard, but find themselves in a murky swamp with broken pathways. And amongst the swamp, all they can see are the carcasses of, I didn't say that. All they can see are the shells of mud crabs and rock crabs. And they think they may be able to walk across the shells, or they can try to jump over the broken bridges. You know, basic starter stuff, right? And then this was the fun twist I did, because for the first campaign the party was fighting the crabs. So it would be like, okay, if you step on the crabs, you're going to find out that it's not a rock and it's a crab. This party rolled well enough to realize that it's not crabs. So then I had them, and they were also like slightly higher leveled because we made it into a campaign and leveled them up. And I set it so that they realized that it was crab carcasses. And I just had this moment of like, haha, what if something bigger and scarier killed the crabs and is eating them? So then they had to fight a bunch of swamp oozes that were eating all the crabs and also started destroying their arms and armor. And they fought valiantly until the last ooze that they had to fight, big black pudding ooze. And they were interrupted by a giant I'm forgetting the name of the spell. Mind Sliver or something like that. A giant magical bolt coming from the hill above, and a wizard leaps down with enhanced leap ability and thanks them for coming to assist and apologizes for not greeting them sooner. So, artist and storyteller. Oh, thank you. So he apologizes for not seeing them sooner. I'm just reiterating how my D&D campaign is going, because I was like, oh, my D&D campaign doesn't watch my stream, so I could yap about it without spoiling anything. And he apologizes for not greeting them sooner, and he invites them up to his cottage that has been built up over the ages on a cliff face into a tower, and a wizard's tower of sorts. And as soon as they enter the tower, they also hear the wailing that was talked about, which turns out to be a female dryad that has somewhat set up shop in this wizard's home. And they have a maybe toxic, maybe not toxic codependent relationship where the wizard isn't really good at taking care of housework, and the dryad helps out with that. And thankfully they have a party member that can speak with the dryad, and she relates that she's having problems keeping the natural world around them in order. and she's responsible for keeping this part of the forest and the shoreside in order. And that local pixies and awakened trees are having a dispute over who gets to live in the ship, and she hasn't been able to get close to them. So she cooks them a lovely meal, and we have a scenic sunset where they have tea and dinner together, and the wizard comes to the side and says, hey, if you want something to do this evening before you head out, I would be really thankful if you could help clean out my cellar. I have some documents in the cellar that I haven't been able to find. And I'm sure if there's something else in there that seems interesting that you find, you could probably take it with you. There are a lot of rats in there that are eating things in the cellar, so if you can take care of them, I would be really happy. So we put them in the cellar, and I was like, nah, I don't really want to do it's the start of a D&D campaign, we're fighting rats mission. So instead of that, what I had them do was they rolled dexterity checks against a swarm of rats. And it was 2 players that participated in this. And they did bad. They did pretty bad. It was almost 50-50 for a while, and then they dipped off right at the end. So it was like a 70. It was more like a 70-30, 60-40 thing. Towards the rats. So the rats won that contest. And instead of just saying like, oh, you couldn't do it, I told them that they were successful. And this is probably one of my favorite things I've done as a DM. I let them succeed, but at a cost, which is now at the most important of moments and at random intervals. You will find rats on your being and in your belongings. So you may have cleared the infestation out of the cellar, but they have now infested all of your packs and beings, and you don't quite know where they're coming from. So they get some water-themed materials, things that enhance your swimming and water breathing, from the cellar goods, and have a nice Sans vacation-esque closing to the day where they clean off the rat sweat in some tubs that are outside on the cliff face watching the sunset. Yeah. And then they all snuggle up with their new rat friends for warmth. Yeah, that was that session, which was really fun. And the next session, the Dryad takes them down to the cove, which is a cove underneath the cliff that the wizard's house is on, overgrown with moss and lichen of sorts, roots intertwining all of the things, all of the steps and infrastructure there, and being lit by a hole in the ceiling in the cove, they see a ship ran aground and half sunken in muck and mud, with trees growing through the ship. As they go closer towards the ship, they are essentially bonked on the head by a glowing light. And it turns out that the glowing light is a pixie. And the pixie immediately says, "Hey, what are you doing on my property? What are you doing on our land? Are you friend or foe?" And demands to know why they're there. And points a very pointy blade at them, but it's very tiny too. They let the pixie know, hey, we're here to help, and our Yanti casts friends on them. She casts friends on them, and I was like, no, I'm going to have a DM moment here, and I will wait patiently as the DM. I was about to stop her and be like, hey, did you read How Friends Work? And like one of the players was like, oh, hey, did you read How Friends Works? I'm not sure you can do that. So we nailed out the main issue, but I and they read, you know, the listing for it, and I was like, you know what? He's gonna remember that they cast Friends, but it's not gonna come back to them right now. So he helped him out and said like, hey man, oh, so good to see you, buddy. We gotta get you down for some barbecue and drinks and tell you about things around here. We could use some new people around town, and always happy to have visitors. That's our hospitality in a way. We'll get you all set nice and pretty. And he takes him down and shows him around the top of the ship, and they meet the village elder, who is a gentleman that essentially has a little pixie penthouse on the top of the ship. And, oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot this part. The pixies have NFTs. So in the previous iteration of this campaign, I would joke about how the pixies would have like raunchy illustrations hidden around the ship that the party could find, and like because it's a big ship and there's a lot of pixies, so like people would hide their lecherous content on the ship. But I didn't really explain it correctly, and I kind of just went with the flow, and I was like, oh yeah, this guy that they met going towards the ship is kind of an asshole. So what if he's trying to get them on an NFT scheme and saying he's going to make them rich? So yeah, they're also NFTs, and the pixie that was supposed to be like kind of hillbilly uncle, like leader of the trailer park, old man pixie is now hillbilly uncle leader of the trailer park, also in a penthouse suite established by himself with fine art NFTs in the back of his home, and also relics. So Grandpa Uncle Pixie tells everyone that, well, the guy you talk to is not the smartest tool in the shed. He's really just a tool. He thanks him for his service and hopes that he stays away from his niece, and starts explaining to them the issues with the awakened trees. And he says, like, listen, if you think you can do something, I might have some goods for you. We have some magical artifacts that are too large for us to use as pixies on this ship. Let's see what you can do. Just be careful not to get lost. And the party also asks if he has any old things, because this ship, he kind of explained the history of the pixies, and he said, you know, our family's been here for generations upon generations, you know, 10 generations at least. And then he says it's been 10 years, so a generation of pixies only lives a year. There you go, buddy. About a year. My favorite hillbilly, the crypto NFT hillbilly, exactly. And he does recall that there have been some artifacts that have been passed down to the leaders of the group, and that aren't really used anymore. And he finds a small silver button that is covered in rust and lichen, and they can't really determine what it is. Well, once again, my party is smart. I'm so proud of my party. They're whippersnappers. They're smart and slick, and I really appreciate them because it keeps me on my toes as a DM. And I was like, yeah, I'll figure out what the fuck this artifact's for later. Because I don't plan enough as a DM. I just kind of plan like locations and what might be there. I don't plan the reasoning that much, right? I go with what my party says for the reasoning. So they find this thing, and one of the players literally immediately is like, oh, great, I'll cast Mending on it. And I was like, oh shit, what does this thing look like? So I then iterate to them, Okay, so you find a silver button that has a border of intertwined jellyfish on it and a piece of coral in the middle that looks almost like a tree. And it was like, it said something like, "Together we grow stronger," or something like that. And they hold on to that and they go out to explore. Joel, hi, welcome in. I'm explaining my D&D campaign. So they go out to explore the rest of the ship, and the party runs into the delicious scent of smoking meats and fine goods, and they run into sort of like a kitchen quarters, and they hear from one of the chefs that there may be a haunch of never-ending troll meat that could keep their civilization alive for a while. It would save them from trying to hunt down ship rats and pests and cooking those up for the pixies. They also want to do some like culinary experimentation and see if it's any good. They've just heard legends of it for years and years. So the party agrees, but another member of the party says, "Hey, I have another idea for you." And they pull out tamed mice, because this is the Snake Yuan Tea party member. They pull out tamed mice from their bag and say, "You could keep these and breed them with the mice that you are trapping and hunting and have a more docile population of food." So this person was widely set on teaching these pixies animal husbandry upon their ship, and I'm all here for it. So I let them roll and see if that was going to work well, and it did. So they succeeded, and they still offered to go explore the ship. They did hear once again that it is risky and they might get lost on the ship. And they got a couple more like scraps of information about what's going on. So from there, they go to explore the rest of the pirate ship, or sea vessel indeed, and they start heading below decks. As they head below decks, they find that there is multiple doors, and some doors have like gilded shell knockers on them, and some doors have no messaging on them. Rightfully so, an adventuring party is pretty terrified of anything that is not matching. And so when presented with 3 doors, 2 with knockers, 1 without, they go with the plain door. Which wasn't too out of sorts for me. I just worked with it because I was like, yeah, okay, the plain door is going to be the one that leads down to the next level. So they descend down, but as soon as they open the door, I ask for the first player to walk through the door and who that's going to be. And the first player that walked through the door was our Minotaur party member, Minotaur Berserker. And they walk through. And the one thing I asked them is, okay, can you tell me about a transitory time in your life? What did that look like? Or in your character's life? So I asked my party, and I am very grateful for them for putting up with me, because this was, we haven't as a group really done much like, okay, tell me about your character type stuff. Because some DMs, like they want like a write-up of everything, or they want to know in advance. And I'm like, I love asking my player characters what's going on and having them help build the story and rolling with it. So I was very happy to be able to work this in. So they said that they weren't really sure. Their culture was very nomadic and had done a lot of time traveling. And I was like, oh, so you mean like flatlands travel, grasslands? And they were like, yeah. So I relate from there. Okay. As you enter the stairwell, you see a path ahead of you that is entirely wheatgrass. Folds and folds and rolling hills, not really hills, but rolling plains of golden grass lay ahead of you. You see a deep blue sky above your eyes that stretches on longer than you expect to. You don't see the ship. You just see the sky ahead of you. And they kind of test out the things to make sure that this isn't entirely fake. And they see that, like, hey, they can release some rats in the area and they'll run around, and they can, walk into the grass and they're not going to die and all that stuff. And they find that the only path ahead is really the direct, straightforward path. It's a small walking path, almost like a horse trail in the wheatgrass. At the end of the horse trail, they find a door. Yet again, another door leading forward. And this brings them to another room back on the ship, which is yet again another 3 doors. This time they choose one of the doors with a shell knocker on it, and they open it up. And I ask our Tabaxi player, hey, tell me about a time where you felt most at ease, most comfortable. Where does your character like to relax and recharge? And they told me that that the place they would recharge in would essentially be a cave with a dragon's hoard of gold. So I let them do that. They had a dragon's cave, and they were able to just kind of peek at that. And unfortunately, a player had to leave at that time, so we had to do a little like, okay, how are we going to move on from here? What are we going to do? And they essentially decided that they were going to check the other door. So they checked the second of 2 shell coral knocker doors, and the Minotaur goes through again. So the Minotaur goes through, and I ask them, like, hey, can you tell me about a good meal your character has had? What was the best thing they remember eating? And they said probably a soup or a stew eaten around a hearty fire that's been boiling for hours after a long day of traveling. So they open the door and find themselves in a yurt, and once again that grassy field that is fully stocked with the ingredients and a boiling, prepared, delicious stew. As they are checking out this and seeing if it's going to kill them, 3 teenage pixies come flying in the door and get very excited that a new person is here and their room is special. Welcome back, Leonin. So they just get super excited that there is a new special room for them to check out in the party, and they start eating the stew. And the party just kind of looks at these teenage pixies that are eating the stew and goes, oh, okay, I guess it's safe to eat. And they have a little bite and they enjoy it. It's delicious. They then have some theories that perhaps the type of room that appears based on the door they open, it depends on who opens the door. Ding, ding, ding. They figured it out. So then they exit that room to do some science. Hey, welcome back. And they enter they exit that room, and the Yanti, our snake person, then goes back and opens that room. And I asked them the same question. What does a good meal look like for your character? They then proceed to describe their character's ideal room, which is a almost Mesoamerican Aztec sacrificial cult cave chamber with golden bowls of raw ingredients, meats and such, of various species, and 3-headed snakes and all this stuff. And yeah, so they grab an ostrich egg and take it out with them, and they're like, I wonder if it's going to disappear, and they take it out, and it doesn't. So they have an ostrich egg now, and they're like, oh, I'm eating good tonight. Italians don't like fruits on their pizza. I mean, honestly, I feel like that may not be true. in the realist sense because, like, yeah, I guess it just depends on what you're looking at. Dude, my hand's sore. My hand hurts. I don't want to draw anymore, Grandpa. I'm getting like nothing done because I'm just talking about D&D. Ha 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 ha. And so the party has found out that they can remove things from the room, and the room changes depending on who enters it. And they've determined that this is a kitchen. They decide that now that they've seen all of those 2 rooms, that they should proceed on. And the last party member that has not entered a room decides to proceed down the unmarked stairwell. These are stairs down. They are descending to the final floor of the ship. So I asked them where their character might have felt low, either morally low, emotionally low, as much as they feel like disclosing. And they state that, their character is more of a theater person. When they had gone through the transitionary hallway with the wheatgrass earlier, they also opened that door and found it to be like the wings of a stage with curtains everywhere, bordering what pathway they could take forward. And they enter in the next room to find another pathway ahead of them, where they walk on top of maybe a 2-inch deep pond, crystal clear water surrounded by lily pads floating on them, vines overgrown onto stone sidings of this pond with small fountains decorating it, spewing water out, and a clear breeze flowing through the air. And they make their way through this room. They look at a couple of things, but they don't seem to have any issues, and move on to the next one. And here's where they receive entry into the bottom of the ship, the base, as it were, midships. And they find that the trees have grown denser in this area. The tree roots that are growing through the ship almost intertwined together into a wall at the base of the ship. And they see some movement, which happens to be one of the awakened trees. One of the players, I thought maybe this might be a fight, but one of the players actually goes in and talks to the awakened tree because they speak Sylvan. And they say, hey, we're here to try and resolve this issue. What's going on? Why are you all bunched up here? And they find that the trees are also covered in barnacles and sea attachments, moss growing through them, limiting their movement. And they say that they're here to protect something. And they've been here for a long time, longer than they expected to. The player then recalls that, a long time, you say, maybe they've been here longer than the pixies have. And they whip out said silver button. And I'm like, oh fuck. I'm a DM. I have to figure out what this is for. Right now. And originally I was going to have it be more complicated, but I just said, you know what? We'll just move on to what this would relate to. And the trees immediately move aside and say, oh, so then you know. And the trees move aside to show an almost barely cracked open clamshell, larger than you would normally see, but there is a small childlike figure curled up, sleeping inside of this clamshell, holding a rounded pearl. And small waves kind of rush over her as if originating from her dress. And she is sitting there, and the trees state, they can't move until she wakes up, and she's been asleep for a long time. So our sorcerer, the Yonti, just goes, okay, and uses some of their psionic abilities, uses message, again, using the game mechanics and magic to solve problems in the game of Dungeons and Dragons. I would never So I reward them for this. And I say, you know what? Okay. We'll just go with it. So they message them and they're literally just like, wake up. Come on, you gotta wake up. They're fighting. And I'm like, okay, interesting. That's a hot wake up. That's a hot wake up player. Let's see. So I had my player roll a wisdom saving throw. And they rolled an 18. They rolled pretty well. I was going to say it was a 15 DC. Because as they talk to this being that's in the clamshell that's asleep, they start feeling and hearing rumbling storms and crashing waves upon the land outside, to the point that the ship's shaking a little bit. And they start getting nervous as one of the biggest crashes happens. And finally, they hear a voice say, like, do I have to? And a childlike voice just asks to go back to bed. The Yuan-Ti convinces the childlike voice that they need to wake up, and the girl opens her eyes. And she yawns, and she stands up, and she puts the pearl to the side, and she looks at them. A small, well, not small, actually slightly larger than average human, blue girl with a dress that cascades into ocean waves. And on her dress, you can see that there is a missing button, and that the button that the player had matches. It was her button. And so, of course, my party is full of sweeties, and they mended her dress for her. And she asked what's going on. And she says that, the trees were... and they relate that, hey, the trees are fighting with the pixies, and they're having issues deciding who gets to stay on the ship. And she says, oh, well, they were just helping me. I guess their job is done now that I'm awake. And she dismisses them, and the trees almost descend back into the ocean, and all that's left are piles of barnacles and corals that were intertwined with them. Hey, Zero Signal, welcome in. I'm explaining literally everything that's happening in my D&D campaign over 4 sessions. Hi. Welcome to Yapping and Art. Pretty average for my streams. So she has now dismissed these awakened trees, and it seems like the issue with the pixies has been resolved. The players roll another check really quick and recall that in the room that the Yuan-Ti snake person had, there was a giant pile of meats. And they recalled really quickly that, oh, hey, the ogre or orc never-ending meat thing might be in there. That looks like it. So then I had them roll a luck check, and it was in there, and they got it. So they took the princess back up the ship to talk to the pixie leader, and they handed over the ogre meat, which wasn't great. And then they got their loot table rolls, which was fun. And we left the session with the players kind of mindlessly exploring the captain's quarters on the ship, and the small Myrid girl, kind of like a sea folk, sea elemental person, no problem, Leonin, thanks, is fussing around with the pearl that she was holding. And the party then looks at her and says, hey, I wonder what that's for. Maybe it's supposed to go in this housing that's on the captain's quarters. And she says, oh, yeah, that's right. That probably makes sense since it's my ship. And she just plops it right in, and the whole room lights up. And they get an intercom system that says, welcome to the Sea Abyss. We have been idle for blah, 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 blah years. Current conditions are not set for sailing. Please make repairs to the ship before proceeding. And thank you, and good night. So an arcane messaging system pretty much says, like, hey, this is a fancy arcane ship. And they identify that the princess is the owner of the ship. And we kind of ended up leaving it at that. That was my cliffhanger I left them on, which is that they have a semi-sentient, or at least conversational, arcane ship now. And that's where they left at. But I did give them a little haha, which is that, like, hey, you guys did really good there. Because if you had failed the wisdom saving throw, this character that you want to go talk to and ask what the water elemental princess is up to, yeah, they would be dead. I love having world consequences for my players' actions. My D&D person is a ghost DJ who razzes the dead. Oh, raises the dead. Razzes. He razzle dazzles them. He throws parties. The dance. They attack undead players doing 20 base damage. Heck yeah! Heck yeah! Yeah, I need to double check with one of my players because I think one of the players in the campaign might not be good with undead things. I think they're actually okay with undead. I have to go back and look at the chat history. But I was really thankful because one of my players was like, hey, here are my lines. If you don't play D&D or you've been playing with the same group for a while, one thing that's pretty common when you are in new groups in the D&D community, it's kind of been a thing over the last couple of years, or if you're finding like a pickup group or joining a local community group, one thing that's really common is something called veils, lines and veils, which is essentially like almost like a consent thing. Hey, no problem, Zero. Thanks for stopping by. And lines and veils are where you can talk to the DM and say, and sometimes it's talking amongst the group too. You can say like, okay, this subject matter is like a hard line. I don't want us to talk about it in the campaign. I don't want to see it. That kind of stuff. And veils would be like, okay, it can happen, but maybe off screen, not something the players experience. Let's not go into too much detail. And it's a great way to deal with people's personal phobias or experiences that might not be so pleasant for them. So we can make sure it's an enjoyable experience for everyone in the party. And that's something I learned at PAX. So thanks, PAX Unplugged. Also, like, my eyes kind of wonky. So that's how my session's going. And I am at the phase where I'm like, okay, I guess I need to determine what's actually going on in the world. Because everything I've done has just been made up in my D&D session. And I've just been rolling with the flow of things. And I'm like, oh no, this is a campaign. I have to think of what the big bad is. But I did figure out like what's going on because I kind of went into this campaign saying, okay, this island appeared out of the middle of nowhere. And I wanted it to be that the island appeared from the water elemental plane. Because literally no one really does campaigns in the elemental planes, and I thought it would be cool. And we have history for it because it's like, I was looking at the wiki and it essentially said that, yeah, there were planar combinations when there were wars between the deities. And there was also the Baldur's Gate thing where Elturel falls into the 9 hells. So that's another like planar leakage thing. So I was like, okay, what if we were experiencing planar leakage here? And this entire island has come from the water plane. So that's the lore behind it. And I've decided recently that we just call her the princess for now. She doesn't have a name. But that the princess is on the ship because she needed to escape the water elemental plane. So in theory, there is something so bad on the water elemental plane that the princess needed to escape to the material plane to do so. And the method of escaping then caused the island that to appear out of the sea, and possibly some other leakage incidents from the water plane. Which also explains why there's really irregular storms in the area. So that's kind of what I'm working with for my campaign so far. Big piratey adventures. Originally, I was going to have like ghost ships be more of a thing, but now I'm kind of like, how soon do I want to loop my players in to like interplanar travel, right? So they're getting lots of like sea hints, right? Yeah. So they're getting lots of hints about the ocean and the sea, but I think they're just thinking it's like pirate related. I did let slip some things about planar stuff, and I was like, how much do you guys know about like inner planes within the D&D worlds? And most of the party was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, okay. Most of the party has not gotten so bored that they read the entire DM's handbook. Thank you. Got it. Listen, when I came back, so I finally got my own Dungeon Master's handbook, right? And when I came back from PAX Unplugged, I had like a 7-hour train ride to sit on the train and just read the D&D handbook. So that's what I did. Meow. Cat time. It's a cat in a box. She goes meow, 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 meow. Cat time. It's a cat in a box. Speaking of cats, my cat's probably asleep. You're the only jasmine on my mind. Oh no, I summoned her. Meow! Meow! I actually summoned my cat. Oops. I'm sorry, Lulu. Hi! Hi, baby. You want to come say hi? Hey, baby. I didn't mean to flip you that hard. Hi! Hi, you guys can't see her, but she may say meow. 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 Oh no, she's happy. I might have to try and draw holding my cat. Hi. Oh, okay. Meow? No, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. She's like, hey, why'd you wake me up? My cat toy is not working. Fix it. Fix it, mother. Fix my cat toy. I can't be a DM. My brain will not keep up with it. I'll start one way and then 5 seconds it's another way. I've been banned from DM stuff. Oh no. No. I feel like practice is important. So I only started DMing sessions in like I only started DMing sessions probably like 2 to 3 years ago. I've been playing D&D for at least 7 years on and off. Mostly off though. I'll go through like phases where I have a group that I play with for a while. And usually it's like a remote group, and not always. It's very hard to get a like, because you always hear about people be like, I've played with this group for 14 years and decades and I've done all this stuff. It's very difficult to get a group like that. And usually it's a case of a group that has started where you can be physically close. They call it DM jail. Oh yeah, and you end up being the DM forever. So like that's why I'm very pleased with the group that I'm in now, because even though I'm running a campaign, and the thing is, I like yapping. If you guys haven't noticed, I don't shut up. So I really like DMing. I like being able to tell stories and also take the players' ideas and run with it. So that's the thing. But being in a group where you know you have the opportunity to be a player and other people are willing to even run something as simple as like a one-shot is really helpful. So I would honestly, if you're looking for a new D&D group, go into it with the agreement like, hey, do you guys swap off who's DMing? Do you run one-shots? How often do you meet? Because I think having that discussed and being willing to say like, hey, you may not be a perfect DM, but if you're willing to try, that means a lot to us. Because it's infinitely more fun to see other people's style of DMing. I can just yap, 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 ba, 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 ba. Yay! That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Honestly, like streaming is such an outlet for me to just kind of get stuff off my chest and share stories that I feel like I would be annoying other people with. So at least this way I can share a story and you get to choose if you're going to listen to it. Sometimes I talk to my coworkers and they're just like, oh God, okay, this has gone on long enough. I don't want to hear any more about fantasy novels. Thank you. Please no. Please stop talking about fantasy novels. No. But it's okay. Me and my coworkers bond a lot about film. So we'll usually talk about movies and TV shows a lot. So today we were talking about Power Rangers for a while. And I think I was talking about a manhwa I read. And I was like, man, I stayed up late because I was reading a manhwa and it was like good. It was good. Sometimes manhwa do dissolve into like, because usually I read romance manhwa because I'm a sucker for romance novels. It's easy. It's easy to read and listen to. Do I have anything I wish to tell that's on my mind? I mean, I think I was just pretty content to talk about D&D, like talk through ideas. Mostly because I needed a refresh for myself. So like reiterating the story thus far for my campaign to chat has allowed me to kind of be like, okay, I'm not forgetting anything. What do I have to write for next week's session? But I do a pretty good job. If something's really, really bothering me, I do tend to, I'll journal about it, or I'll kind of try to just make some kind of art about it to get it out of my system. Or I'll kind of try to talk through what actions I can do to feel like I have more control over the situation. Because usually a lot of my personal anxiety is just based around feeling like I can't control a situation, or feeling like I don't have a voice in a situation. Haha, which is why streaming is really good for me, because yap. Texas Chainsaw. Well, what is your favorite thing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre? If you had to pick one element that you were like, this is the best part about that series, what would it be? Because for some people, it's like the visual design, it's the corniness of it, it's the like history of how it's been used in pop culture. What's your favorite part? Oh, I'm so congested. I gotta take allergy meds. You are always welcome to talk about your hobbies and the things you're interested in here, because I love learning about other people's hobbies. It's great. I think if we're talking like horror, the lore. Ooh. Oh, give me the lore. I didn't know Texas Chainsaw Massacre had lore. It's funny, yeah. I didn't know it had lore. Like, what's the thing that like got you in the lore? Is it like complicated? Is it redundant? I know, because if I'm talking like lore on something and I want to get into it, I'll kind of go on deep dives. And like the last thing I got deep dive into lore on was honestly probably Higurashi. I started getting into the Monogatari and Nisei Monogatari, Bako Monogatari type thing, and then I was like, okay, this is too philosophical for me, babes. So Higurashi has been like my go-to lore thing, and I got into all of that. I still need to finish Caconia. I haven't even started reading Caconia, the OG in movies and stuff. In the first movie, he doesn't really want to be the monster. Aww. So what elements do you think like force them into being a monster? Do you kind of enjoy the aspect of like the psychological, or not even psychological, but societal connotations about, what makes a villain in a horror movie a villain. Because one thing that's interesting is I found that when I watched, what was the movie? Parasite. I watched that Korean movie Parasite that got all the awards and acclaim. That felt like a true horror movie to me. Like, that spooked me out more than many slasher movies, because it felt deeply unsettling, and it felt like too accurate to the societal things that we were going through today. And I was like, I am skeeved out by this. I don't like it. Oh, no, don't bully him. No. Peer pressure is bad. He's just a little murdering baby. He's just a little guy. Now, interesting. Is the lore present in like the original iteration of TCM, or is this something that they then added in with like reworks and sequels, and they kind of like retconned the lore to add more depth to it, other than like a slasher movie? It's in the OG timeline. Okay, good. We love that. We love character death. I feel like there are movies where the spectacle of like the directing or the genre can take over what's going on, especially in horror, where like the spectacle of what's going on tends to be more important. But I feel like you have to have that touch of truth to what could happen, something that plucks on people's like personal guilt, or something that, honestly, like personal guilt or things that unsettle people are really good elements to horror. Because I think that in general, like things that people are like, I'm a little skeeved out by this. I don't feel good about this, but I don't have the power to do anything about it. Using those subjects to then make horror makes really impactful horror. I've been thinking about that a lot, because I also kind of like play around with my head, like, okay, for this specific region of the world or genre of the world, what does horror look like? Like, what would, if I had to make a TV show set in this era of the world or area, what would it be? So generally, I think that like a lot of the themes can be the same, but I think you can interpret them in different ways. Isolation from like others is certainly one of them, especially amongst like, I think honestly I would love to see that topic explored more, because I feel like isolation amongst the neurodivergent and autistic community is really prevalent, and isolation doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but it can be a good and a bad thing. And I think exploring and kind of prodding at the conflict of that, whether it's caused by other people that isolation is having, or that you're self-choosing it, is interesting. I would dig into that. I would love to read more about it. He keeps doing it, feels bad. Because of the family connection. Yeah, so maybe it's like the only way that he feels like he can be a part of the family. Interesting. I didn't know that it had this much lore. Dang, now I'm going to be invested, and I'm going to watch the movie, and I'm going to be reading all the lore about it, and I'm going to be talking to my coworkers about it. Oh, no. Oh, that's cruel. I mean, that does happen, but that's very cruel. Yeah. Yeah, so it's the isolation there where He's seeking something outside of that isolation or seeking acceptance. And because, yeah, that's just a first and second. Wow. I had no idea there was that much lore. And that's just a movie theory. I like comfort. I comfort watch game theory and film theory, definitely. And I was having a really rough week this week, and I definitely whipped out the game theory podcast, and I was like, let's go. Just balm my ears with theorizing so I don't have to think about the things that stress me out. Yippee! Come on, chat! Everybody, yippee! The joyous yippee of being able to share your hobbies. Yay! Yay. Ah. Yeah, I think I've maybe watched like a little bit of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I haven't seen them all. I need to go through and just do like a full like horror movie watch through, because I was in a house that watched a lot of like sci-fi and fantasy, and like there was a period where I watched a lot of thriller movies, but like the slasher horror movies I feel like I like more. Because they're not trying to like, the jump scares don't scare me. But when it's, I don't know. I like when it's people focused, you know? Instead of like a monster. I do remember there was a horror movie that I watched as like a kid on HBO, like really late at night at like 4 a.m. when I was at my cousin's house. And it had spooters in it. It was like giant arachnids. And I don't recall what the movie was about, but I remember that freaked me out. We accept that here. We accept that. I think there are too many times personally growing up that I have been told, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently, but I've been told to like self-censor or shut up or stop yapping about the thing that I care about, and having a space where you can just share the thing that you are happy about and have a conversation to like really connect with others, people that are like making the effort to make the connections and have a discussion about that and be engaged with those interests. It makes a world of difference, especially like with forming like true understanding with other people. I feel like forming these relationships with others where you feel like you can make mistakes and you kind of get the vibe of them. I feel like that's really important. The monsters. The monsters. The monsters. My brain cells are fading very quickly. I've also been trying to draw this like half moon for like 45 minutes. This is fine. I do a lot of art full time, so I let myself be lazy on the streams. I do it. I'm just gonna be yapping. If we get progress done, we get progress done, and that's amazing. But I don't expect to get a lot of progress done. Come on. I gotta release my wrist. I'm too tensioned. And just evil because what is evil and what's good. Yeah, I feel like the world is much more morally gray than we think. And when we try to classify people based on a single action or a single chain of actions, we fail to acknowledge their entire being. And I think also like retrospectively in history, you can for many things, and this is kind of the grace of being like just a person and not a public figure. You can accept moral grayness, right? You can't always make the best decision in the moment. But big asterisk here. I do put the line at public figures and politicians. I do put that there because when you are in a position and you start making decisions or actions that will affect wide swaths of other people, and not in the like butterfly effect way, but like actual policy way, that's when I'm like, okay, come on, let's get going. Though I do think, so I grew up through, I mean, I think the first administration I recall is the Bush administration, George W. Bush. So, I grew up in that time, and at least on the Senate and congressional level, American politicians were much more localized in their issues and collaborative, but that has changed. So, yeah. I don't want to bum people out, so I don't want to go too much into it, but I think that is certainly the level where you need to be able to be harsh and make the criticisms of the person who is clearly doing bad things. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on. I mean, for those in the know, I will be going out tomorrow. I'm not going to say where, but I'm going out to one of my local protests. It's going to be baby's first official protest. But in good conscience, I can't agree with what's going on. My rant is on Blue Sky about it. I stream under a commander title, and I work in and with military officials, so I had a very focused take on that. But yippee! I genuinely like politics. I tend to try to shy away from it on stream. We fall into it where I will explain myself more thoroughly than is ever needed to, and I will talk about it usually with a very anti-capitalism, very corporations are trying to kill you rant, but maybe less hippie. Again, nothing is perfect, and even in that argument there's moral grayness, but yeah, I'll go off on that, but I tend to try and rein it in, because a lot of my interest in politics before all this craziness was going on was like, hi, I would like to listen to a podcast discussing this one bill about fracking rights in Oregon. Thank you. And that was my entertainment for the day. And now it's sad. Now I'm sad. Can you just talk to me about semi-niche economic and environmental bills, please? Please. Tell me about the sea turtles. Tell me. I want to hear about paper straws. No, that is okay. Thank you for asking. I'm pretty open about it. I have a partner that I am pretty much married with. We have a house together. We spend our time on the outpost together. You'll probably hear them in the background if you stick around stream long enough over time. They tend to come by, and that would be Revold. So you may see Revold in chat. Revold is probably doing stuff right now, but yeah. I ate a straw to tell the sea turtles are weak. I feel like eating those paper straws is just the escalation of like eating the stick on a lollipop. And I don't know if this is guaranteed for everyone. I gotta confess to something maybe a little embarrassing here. But when I get a lollipop and the stick is paper, I always eat the stick. It's like a reward. I always eat the stick. The whole thing. I like chew on it. It's just paper. It's just paper. It's fine. It's fine. It's like a reward for candy. Exactly. It's part of the process. Or like when you get pixie sticks, which for context, non-Americans, pixie sticks are a type of candy where it's like a sugar and citric acid and sometimes fruit flavored powder that is in a paper tube and like sealed off on the ends. So it's entirely paper. So like you get it wet and it just all gums up together. So some people try to like carefully rip off the end and then dump the powder in their mouth. And I just bite it and I just start chewing on it. And I'm like, paper, sugar to paper. No. Oh, okay. So generally, this is from my Health and Hazards of Artists in the industry book that I had to buy for school. Please make sure that you do not put anything up your nose other than oxygen. Do not put anything up your nose. Please and thank you. Chat, please do not put anything up your nose. Don't snort things. Don't put toys there. Probably don't pull the nose hairs out. Trim them because you can also get an infection and necrosis and it's bad. But in general, one of the biggest killers in the artistic world is actually inhaled toxins. So woodworkers and artists and painters and professionals all around the globe are dying every day because of inhaled particulate matter. So pretty much anything, if it's like in a small enough fine dust, is probably going to kill you. Probably your lungs really do not like anything other than oxygen and maybe some humidity. They don't want anything other than that. They don't. So if you start trying to put like wood dust or silicone or rock dust or like, I don't know, smoke in your lungs, they don't like it. The green one tastes best. What are you, a Marine? Nom, 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 nom. Crayons. They do. What are y'all, a Marine? Delicious crayons. Yeah, so don't hurt your lungs and wear a mask when you are doing sanding or any vaporous or diffused work. Diffused? Particulate. I've been drawing the same circle for like an hour. I should stop doing that. That's fine. I'm Army, so I'm a little smarter than that. Hey. Most of my interactions are around the Navy. They got mustaches. That's all I can tell you. They got mustaches. Everything else is classified. But yeah. So many mustaches. So many. But the question is, are mustaches becoming popular in the Army? Is that the trend now? I see. Emergency rations. High caloric intake. High caloric intake and high color output. Crayola crayons. I hope not. For shame, the mustaches are cool. I like the mustaches. If I could grow a mustache, like a good mustache, I would. You better believe I would have the suavest motherfucking mustache and goatee combo. It would look so good. I would kick ass. Also, I would wear like beautiful eyeliner and makeup. And I would look like a smarmy magician. Like a bard. I want to look like a bard after a night at the pub. Who just seduced all the barmaids and orcs in town. Maybe not the evil twirling at the ends. I used to be a really big fan of that, but then I also lived through the like ironic hipster mustache era. So like I kind of really enjoy like the not the like take that and just cut off the twirl part. Like just stop before you get to the twirl part, you know? Trim it. A nice trimmed mustache. If I had a mustache, I would. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I would never do that, but yeah. I would also, like, if I could grow a beard, I would maybe grow it long enough that I could braid it and then have little braids in my beard. Yeah. But I feel like the thing that bugs me about beards is, like, a lot of times the beard is curly. It just feels like prickly like prickly like tumbleweed. And I don't want tumbleweed on my chin, so I gotta keep it like tight, you know? Trim that stuff. The Viking ones, yeah. Normally I do play music during my streams, but for some reason YouTube is just saying no to me to play music, so we're raw dogging the stream, which is also why I'm like absolutely yapping so much. YouTube decided no background music, so that's what we're working with. It is hot. It is hot out. It's hot. My computer is so hot. My PC is melting. Welcome back. Or you'll be back. You'll be back. This I know. You'll be back before the stream is done. Have a poop. Get a snack. Come enjoy us and sit back. You'll be back. This I know. Also, yeah, welcome to Aqwah stream, where she makes up crappy parody lyrics for everything. I'm almost physically incapable of remembering the actual lyrics to songs and music, so I tend to just make up relevant things. And I would like to thank that skill towards my skills as a DM for D&D. So that's that. See you, but I know. Angelica, Elisa, and Peggy, the Schuyler sisters. This I know. Da 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 da. These are not biblically accurate pauldrons, but you know what? This is literally only supposed to be a YouTube thumbnail. That's what this was originally supposed to be, and then I was like, I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna draw it real good. And then it was supposed to be like months ago. We were supposed to play Soul Calibur 6, whatever one I have on Steam. And I never finished the art, so we never played Soul Calibur. We've just been playing Elden Ring. Seasons change, oceans fall, but together we've been through it all. You'll be back, this I know. La da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This I know. Ba da 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 da. Ah! The hair, it went flying. Through it all. Ba-da-ba, ba-da, ba-ya-ya-ya-ya, ah-ah-ah. Did I run it? Da-da-da-da. Are you ready? Days free life. Da-da-da-da-da. It's good advice, but you just couldn't take. And who'd have thought you'd figure what I need to say? Maya, 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 oh, Maya, 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 oh, Maya, Maya, no brain cells, they're all gone. This pauldron makes no sense. It's fine though, you just gotta get the light art done. It's fine. We gotta get to coloring. Through it all, this I know. Hey, all right. The tired has hit. My God, the tired has hit. So the other night, I was making ice cream. I got one of those Ninja Creamy thingamajigs. It's very good. I love it. Makes ice cream. I love ice cream. I love ice cream so much. I love ice cream. It is my comfort food, and I was spending way too much money going to Dairy Queen for soft serve, or like trying to go to a local place and get soft serve, and their machine wouldn't work. And I was like, fine, I'll just do it myself. Also, because nowhere around me does like fun flavors of soft serve either, and I really like soft serve specific ice cream. the like stuff you get in the tubs of the grocery store. I feel like you can't appreciate the cream flavor well enough. You know, it's either too sweet or it doesn't taste like anything. So I wanted to make my own. So I made my own vanilla ice cream, and I was like, you know what? I have some Bird's custard. And if you don't know, Bird's custard is an instant, quote unquote, it's not an instant, but it's a powdered custard mix that I think is English, and you make it on the stove. And it comes in this little container with a red lid. And it's like a pretty famous brand. So I got some because I was nostalgic for it. My parents used to have it in the house. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let me try making this. And I thought, okay, let's add it to the vanilla ice cream. Maybe it'll be more like a frozen custard thing. And I looked at the ingredients list to see if I had to cook it beforehand. And I was like, okay, I wonder what the active ingredients in this are. Guys. Bird's custard. First ingredient. Starch. And I looked at that and I went, well, we're off to a good start here, aren't we? Second ingredient. Coloring. Caramel coloring. Third ingredient. Flavorants. That's it. That's all that's in it. It's literally like, I think maybe there's salt in it. That's it. There's no sugar. There's no like powdered eggs or dairy. No. No, it's starch. It's all starch. And for an ingredient that is like mostly starch, I would say a vast majority of Bird's custard is starch. It is surprisingly flavorful. It is very caramelly. Tastes kind of like flan, which I guess is still a custard, so that makes sense. But yeah, I keep thinking about that, and it keeps making me cackle, because I always thought like, oh, it's fancy. It's starch. It's just starch. And now I feel like I need to look at like my powdered pudding mixes, because I feel like those are also probably just starch plus sugar, because I know the pudding has sugar in it, but yeah, the custard, they're like, yeah, you gotta add your own sugar. Hi! Welcome back. I was just ranting about custard. I was saying, yeah, I got Bird's custard, and I realized that it's literally the first ingredient, meaning it takes up the most of the ingredient list, is starch. And I don't know why I was surprised, but it's starch. Jumped into shower, wow. Scrub-a-dub-dub. What's your like go-to rotation for shower? Because I feel like your order of operations for how you take a shower says a lot about you. Like, for instance, I always have to brush my hair before I take a shower because it'll get knots. And then the first thing I do is I shampoo my hair, and then I like scrub that in, and I let her soak for like a minute or two if my hair's really greasy. And then while I'm shampooing my hair, I wash my face with face wash. Also a night shower. Yep, I'm also a night shower. Although I've become a morning shower, but that's because I get up for work at 5. I keep saying 5. I get up for work at 6. I try to get up for work at 5:30. I get up for work at 6. But usually I try to get up, and I'll sometimes I like look at myself and I'm like, I had the night sweats last night, and I sweat up a storm, and my hair is greasy, and I look disgusting, so I'm going to take a shower before work, and it'd be damned if I'm 20 minutes late. It's body hair rinse. Get out and sleep. That is fair. That is fair. Absolutely fair. And like, okay, so I think Game Theory also did a video on this, but like as far as like soap goes, so I do face wash while my hair is like soaking, right? Wash out the hair and the face, which like I guess if I wanted to be more efficient, I would also do my body wash at this time, and I would do hair and then body wash and then face, so that I don't have soap in my eyes. Huh. I think I need to rethink my shower routine. That feels more efficient. I should probably do that. But yeah, so that's what I do. And then like I usually just only use like body soap on like the top half. Right? Cuz I'm like, "Oh, the soap's like gonna wash down the bottom half." Like I think every like couple of showers or so, you know, or if I've been like really gross and sweaty during the day, I'll do like a, bottom half scrub a dub. But I don't think I've ever like intentionally gone and scrubbed my legs with soap that often. I think maybe like once a week or so. I go in and I just like wash my feet off just to make sure there's not like dirt stuck to them or anything, you know? Because it gets wet and soapy in the shower, right? I swear to God, Game Theory did a video on this, and they were like, "Yeah, it doesn't make a big difference whether you wash the bottom of your body off with soap or you just let the shower do it." I'm overthinking this, but I feel like that's the case, you know? I will say, I've been using, so I've come to appreciate the old man smell that I tend to have sometimes. So mark that in the stream history, in the lore books, put that on the Wikipedia. Commander Aqwah smells like an old man, and I will explain why. I will hence explain why I smell like an old man. And that is usually because for a while I was having a really hard time with like psoriasis and dandruff in my hair, because my hair was getting really dry from like stress and humidity change and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I don't know what to do. So then I was like looking it up, and I saw this video that was talking about coal tar shampoo. And I was like, you know what? Let me see. And then they were also talking about like over-the-counter options for like dandruff shampoo. And one of them was the salicylic acid, which is usually what's in the Head and Shoulders shampoo. And that usually doesn't work for me. It kind of just strips my scalp. So I figured, okay, I'll try the coal tar shampoo just in case it's like, I think it was to check if it was like a fungal dandruff thing. Like, I don't know, maybe your hair is getting too humid and it's like, no. So I got this stuff, and it's like in the bottle that's like clear with the blue lid. I think T-Sal is like the competitor to it. And it's got this like thick brown shampoo in it. You squeeze it out and it just smells so strong. You're only supposed to use it once a week. And I went and sniffed it. And I was like, why does this smell like my great uncle? Why does it smell like his house? I'm so confused. And I didn't use it for the first couple of times because I was like, oh God, I can't get over the smell. And I thought it was like old person dying smell. And I felt really bad about it later on because I found out that it is a coal tar based shampoo for anti-dandruff, which can be like antibacterial, antifungal, right? And it has a strong smell because it's the coal tar. And the reason why you might have grandparents or great grandparents that smelled like that is because it was one of the most famous soaps that was advertised at the time and was especially used in the military. So the military would use coal tar shampoo, or soap, body soap. I think it was like Old Boy, not Old Boy, but there was like this body soap that was coal tar, and they would use it. So then I guess they just carried on using it. So then their whole house smelled like coal tar shampoo. And now I've been using it because it works really well. And I use it like once a week. And so I just go into work smelling like an old man. And I'm okay with it. I like the smell now, so 50 squats in the shower. Wow. That's impressive. That's a good habit though. That's a good habit. I should do that. I like the smell of that. I mean, I do kind of like it. It's kind of like this, like, not like cinnamony, but like, it's an earthy smell. And it's a little funky. It does honestly kind of smell like gasoline a little bit too. So like, if you like the smell of gasoline, you might like the smell of coal tar shampoo. I'm just saying. If you like the smell of paint thinner and a gasoline, you might like the smell of this. Exactly. It kind of reminds me of like childhood too, a little bit. So I'm like, I'm a little nostalgic for it. But then I'm like also realizing, so like I'll go into work and I'm always like very self-conscious. And I feel like, so I'm still in my 20s. Still, I'm not there yet. I will be, but I will go into work and I'll talk to my coworkers, and I'll have days where I have that on and I'll like sniff myself and I'll be like, oh man, I wonder if it's really strong. And my whole shower at this point like smells like this stuff. So I'm like, well, this is my life now. And I'll feel like I'll ask them, and they won't have that like familial relation, because it was so specific to like people who had been in the military in like the 40s to 60s, I think maybe some of the 70s. People who don't or didn't grow up and spend time around relatives that had that may not have that like brain connection. Also, apparently Marilyn Monroe used coal tar shampoo as well. So that also made me feel better. I was like, oh, I feel like a pretty lady. Excuse me, Mr. President. Do I smell like old man? But yeah, we're like losing that generation of people is not really there anymore. So there's going to be a lot of experiences. Like, I wonder what like Gen Z's like smell identification memory is going to be. Do I not have donuts? No. I don't take donuts. Like, we're not big enough. I don't have membership unlocked because we're not big enough for that. So, I mean, if you want to donate to the stream, send the stream to a friend. Tell them to come hang out. It's a good time. We just like to have good vibes here. And I like to have good conversations with people. No, don't worry about it. Thank you, though. Listen, it's all good. We're baby stream, you know? We're baby streamers. We're the independent, countercultural, homegrown, ethically sourced, well, as a space homunculus, ethically sourced. Unclear. I think VTubers are stupid. They think VTubers are stupid and don't like anime. Well, make that a challenge. Just be like, hey, I know you don't like anime, but like... whatever. I think that's the thing, though, is like, a lot of people... I'm not sure why there's kind of this, like, ick for VTubers, and I think it's because corporate VTubership and the traditions that started in the VTuber community of like being an idol kind of conflict with like the Twitch streamer gamer community. So for the context of people that are new here, I stream on YouTube and Twitch, and I've actually been streaming on Twitch longer than I have YouTube. Take a time every time they blink. I don't know. Drink safely. Kitten, welcome back. How are you? How's your day? Yeah, I love seeing that cat tummy gif. Let's go. But yeah, so it's kind of that culture of like having a good and interesting relationship with your viewers and having good conversations versus trying to be this like perfect say-so idol that's marketable. I feel like sometimes it's a little contradictory, and I also feel like when VTubing was like becoming a thing, a lot of VTubers really tried to fit into this stereotype of being an anime character, like being a niche of an anime character. And there's a lot of overlap with the like personality niches people tried for. And I kind of was just like, I'm gonna be myself. I mean, not my, like, I'm gonna emanate what is true to me. And that tends to be like, I try to be someone that can lend an ear and listen to other people and have a good conversation. Be an entertainer, be open-minded. Kind of like a big sister type, you know? That's kind of the vibes I try to go for. Fun older aunt. Not rich aunt, because I am not rich. No. It kind of sounds interesting though. Hey, take the stream at whatever pace you can. We are having a good time. We are hanging out. You want to start doing stuff like this? I stop talking and just yap about some facts or my thoughts. I mean, if you're continuing to yap, you're doing streaming right. I feel like the number one thing that new streamers don't do, guys, I've been doing this for a long time. There are certainly times where like I'll talk to friends or co-streamers and they're like, yeah, I just got into streaming. I already have like this many viewers. And I'm like, I'm going to let myself have this moment to feel the ouch of that. Because, my content's a slow burn. It's a slow burn, baby. It's about the quality and the good vibes and not making people mad to go viral, you know? Mother, I wish for McDonald's French fries and your phone to play Flappy Bird. I'm sorry, son, I don't have Flappy Bird, but I got Tetris 99 on my Switch. You better not lose. Every time you lose on Tetris 99, I'm gonna charge you $2 out of your Christmas slush fund. Mother, I crave the games on your phone. Joke's on you, the only games I have on my phone right now are Steam Link, which I use to play Umi Neko Nakakoro ni When the Seagulls Cry, which is a visual novel that is completely linear and is longer than 3 King James Bibles and also longer than the entirety of Game of Thrones. Twice. Mother, I wish for the bird that flaps. I don't think Flappy Bird doesn't even exist anymore. So we're gonna call you out, Zero. Zero's old. We've got an old in chat. Halfway to the retirement home, my friend. Flappy Bird doesn't exist anymore. More Guild Wars 1. No! I'd imagine Zero's just like screaming, no! As their body is like slowly engulfed in divine light and their skin becomes dry and desiccated to their body, slowly turning to ash, fading away in the divine winds upon them as their skeleton tumbles to the ground at being called their true age. As I turn to ash or dust, literally. Hyper instant desecration. No, I'm almost 30. Ah, my hip. Okay, now you're just being honest about my age. Rude. But kitten, I'm there too. I'm there with you. I'm right there with you. Okay, I'll be honest. I turned the 3-0 this year. Okay, guys? I turned the 3-0. And so I'm there with you. And I have the back pain. And the leg pain. And the foot pain. I have orthotic insoles arriving at my house. Today. Well, tomorrow. Because I got plantar fasciitis. Why did I just sound... What did I say? Was it when I was like, I'm with you? Pikachu. Pikachu. We've got so far to go. If we train hard enough, we'll beat the Kanto leading leading Flugelsnoggle. We'll beat the Kanto leading gym leaders. Pikachu, use Iron Tail. And they have Flappy Bird where it makes the POV look like you were the bird and I can't. Oh no. I can sound like him, but if he smoked 13 packs a day. Here's the thing. I don't remember the Pokemon in Kanto region. Is Kanto the second gen? Which one's... Is Kanto... Kanto, I think, is the one with Torchic, right? In Mudkip? Or is that the one with Chikorita? I did like Chikorita. Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil, go! Cyndaquil, go! It's old. Pikachu, wake up! Wake up, Pikachu! Yeah, that's my secret. With just a little effort, I go from sounding like a craggly voiced woman to a craggly voiced preteen boy. That's it, bayo! You better believe it! This is my future. I got a future career in this, guys. Meow. So Revolt is actually currently playing Pokemon Omega Ruby. I'm at Original 3DS. And I trolled him really hard. So we were setting it up and he wasn't sure if he was going to play. And I was like, you know what? I'll set it up. And I named his character, obviously the May skin. Yeah, that was my cat. This is Lulu. She's very loud. She has feelings. She's feelings because her laser toy the batteries are dead. Yeah, so I named May Suspect. So his main character is named Suspect. And then I named his Torchic Testicules. God bless Testicules. And I tried to tell him not to level Testicules up, but apparently Revolt doesn't believe in the sacred act of my starter is cute. Why would I ever evolve it? Hi, Lulu. Come here. Hi. Hi, baby. Come here, baby. What? Yeah, thank you for showing me your butt. Come here, baby. Come here. Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Hi. She's just rolling on the floor. Hi, Lulu. Nuzlocke him. Right. So I have the only Pokemon games I own are Omega Ruby, Sun, and Sword are the ones that I have. I've probably only ever played the most of Sword and probably Omega Ruby. I've played through like 50% of Omega Ruby. And I think my thing is like, I always liked more in-depth JRPGs. So like, as I got older, I got into Dragon Quest. I did like Sun and Moon. I liked the Alolan versions of things, and I think it was underrated. And the art style that they did for the Sun and Moon TV show was good. So I'll give them that. My God, Lulu. She's so pissed that her laser toy has been out of commission. Meow? Oh, are you playing with my camera mount now? Thank you. Meow, wow, 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 wow. Meow, wow, 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 meow, wow, meow, wow, wow, wow. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Yeah. Oh, who you fighting? Who you fighting? Who you fighting? Who's she fighting? But Zero was mentioning friends that hate VTubers. Well, here's what I'll tell you. There's a VTuber out there that I promise you fits the niche of their interests, because there are VTubers that do everything. We have gotten to the point of saturation of VTubers where like finally the VTuber checklist is not necessarily what works. So what I would say is like, if you're like looking up your special interest and you see a VTuber that is doing content of that special interest, feel free to check it out, because they're probably, unless it's like flavor of the week content, like a game everybody's playing, they're probably also really passionate about it because they're spending a lot of time making content about it. So it's probably going to be a good time. I promise you that. Hey, have a good night. Rest well. Thank you so much for coming by and chatting. It's been a vibe. Sweet dreams to our chat. We've had a talk, and now it's time for rest. Sweet dreams to all of you. May rest come soon. Yeah, Lulu. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby girl. Oh my God, she's attacking like boxes and stuff. I might have to go play it with my cat because she's destroying things. She's at the destroying things phase of the evening. What does it mean now that I've found the final verdict and sung it aloud? Fly me to, let me sing amongst the stars. You know what your life is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Yeah. My cat's literally just like running laps up and down the hallway right now. Yeah, what? Did you find a bug? Maybe she found a bug that she's chasing. Huh? Oh my god. Oh my god, what's she doing? Alright, I might have to go see what my cat's doing. What that cat doing? Literally, we drew like 4 lines. Great stream, everybody. 2 hours, 4 lines. We did it. Aced it. Perfect. We got so much done. But you know what? That is the beauty of when you do artwork and creative things for yourself, and you work on a lot of things at once. Sometimes you can just be really lazy and just yap with people. Have a social time. I fully encourage you to have like yapping creative dates with your friends or people that you just kind of know that share the same hobby. Just say like, hey, I want to work on this thing. I don't necessarily want to do something together. I just want to be in the same room and work on stuff that makes us happy. So it's a good time. Co-working, getting stuff done. Your cat destroying the house, chasing stuff. So I am gonna save. What is she doing? Holy shit. What am I witnessing? Is there another cat outside? Okay. I gotta go see what my cat needs. I'm gonna go, everybody. Take care of yourself. I should be back on Sunday, though the time may be a little weird. I am running some combat stuff with my D&D group. Still don't understand why my cat's freaking out. So I will just keep an eye out on Discord and in YouTube for when the time is going to be for stream. Let me see if we are rating out. You know what your life is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Do, 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 do. I think we are gonna go raid Witch King is playing Repo. They're pretty cool with lots of cool hobbies. You should give them lots of support. I think I'm stuck like this. Can't stop singing. Send help, please. All right. Take care of yourself, everybody. Do something you love today and do something that makes you happy and make good art. So I will see you all on Sunday at some point in time, and just keep an eye out on the stream schedule for that. And take care. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. And I guess I'll sing you out. Do, 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 do.